Hello, hi guys. So today let's talk about the Python website itself. I have made a separate video on how to download Python and install on your operating system. So if you want to see like how can you install Python in your operating system, so the link for that one is mentioned in the description. Please go through that one. And let's talk about the Python website. So this entire Python website is divided into many sections like Python, PSF, docs, PI, jobs, community. So let's talk one by one. So the first section is Python. So here you can see like what are all the application of Python and what is Python. Python, they have mentioned like Python is a programming language that lets you work more quickly and integrate your system more effectively. So let's make a separate video on what is Python, how to use Python, and how can you run a hello world in Python. Everything can be made it as a separate video, and the link for that one also will be mentioned in the description. And in the about section in the application, they will talk about like what are all the various applications you can develop using Python. So the various application may be like web-based and internet development, and there is one famous framework that is called Django, which is completely developed using Python. So if you want to develop an entire web application, so you can directly go with the Django. And there are some more micro frameworks like they will say micro frameworks. It is like actually a Python frameworks where you can develop a web applications. Now the things are like Cherry Pie, Flask, Bottle. There are different Python frameworks. And here you can see there is another applications which is used Python. So that is called Django CMS. So it is nothing but a content management system. It is almost similar to WordPress. So yeah, you can compare this one with the WordPress. You can develop your own website or you can like front end content management system using the Django framework. And also Python supports, there are like lot of libraries if you want to work with HTML, XML, JSON, and if you want to process your email, everything can be possible using Python libraries. I'll talk about this package index, Python, everything later. And the some more application is in the scientific and the numeric field. So let's say like you are working with the machine learning, so there you want to do a lot of mathematics and you want to do a lot of calculation. At the time you can use SciPy, and there are like so many libraries which you want to analyze the data, then you can go with the pandas. So like this there are like so many other libraries which is being done using Python for this field. So in education, and this is another interesting topic, like if you want to develop a GUI application using Python, and that is also possible. The famous like according to my experience, usually people use Qt via PyQt. That means like there is one more framework called Qt framework where we can develop a standalone application using C++. The same Qt library which is supported in Python. Now you can write a Python code to develop a GUI. And there is like a GTK plus, and there are like so many other tools and libraries where you can develop a desktop application using Python. Next, the software development. This SCONS, BuildBot. So what is meant by BuildBot? Let's say like you want to build your Python project itself, then you can use BuildBot. Actually, this is used for development of Python itself. So this is like every day automatically the entire Python code base automatically compiles, runs, and tested across various different operating system and platforms. So that is been, that is why it is used BuildBot. And there are like a lot of business application like Odo. So this is like the application. So this is the web application which provides some management software. So these are all like some small applications of Python. There are like hell lot of Python. Let's say YouTube. YouTube itself is started developed using Python. So the backend of the YouTube was initially developed by Python. Now I don't know, like even Python is a part of a YouTube backend now as well, but I'm not sure like exactly now how they are doing. So that is all about an application. So if you want to start with Python, then you have to go with this section called Get Started. Here they will talk about like how you can start a Python as a beginner, how you can install and how you can learn about a specific language, that Python language, and they have given some good tutorials and the materials for you to get started with Python. The next section is download. In this download section there are like a lot of links, so where you can click on this Windows to download for Windows. You can download and install Python for Windows, like that. This is for Mac. So I'll talk about this download section later, how you can download for your operating system, which Python version you want to install. Everything I'll talk whenever I do a section on how you can install a Python programming language in your operating system. And the next one is a document section. So this is very much important, like when you are working with a Python, you should be always aware of this document section. So next thing is like, let's click on this docs. So here you can see there are like a lot of this entire document is divided into many sections like beginner, moderate, advanced, general, and there is like Python 3 resource and Python 2. And if you want to port your projects which is been developed using Python 2 to Python 3, you can refer to this one. I forgot to mention, like there are like two versions of Python. So one is Python 2 and another one is Python 3. So Python 2 is basically now it is getting deprecated, and whenever you want to install Python, you better go with the Python 3. And in the document section also there is one more document section called beginner guides. Here you can go and check like how you can start your Python journey. So this is all entire thing for a beginner guides. It's for a new guys who are coming for a Python programming. And the other one which is very important is a developer note. It's not very important for us, it is important for the guys who want to contribute to Python itself. If you want to contribute to Python, so then you can go for developer guide. Here they'll explain how you can contribute to Python. If you find any defect in a Python itself, you can go and fix that one, and you can commit your code to a Python repository. So then someone will do a review and they will accept your pull request. To do all this process, you need to obey their rules and regulations. So that is everything is mentioned in developers guide. So, and one more important thing is PEP Index. These are all FAQ and non-English documents. So the important thing is PEP Index. Let's go here. So PEP Index means like Python enhancement proposals. In simple, it is like a rules which is made by Python community. So where you have to follow the rules. So here you can see. So each PEP Python enhancement proposal is corresponding with the number. So that is called a PEP1, PEP4, PEP5. So this PEP contain the index of all Python enhancement proposal known as PEPs. PEP numbers are assigned by PEP editors, and once assigned are never changed. That means once they assign a number, that is never changed. That is the first rule. It is as if saying like my rule number one is not to do anything with not to touch any of the rules. Do not edit anything, or if this number is given once, it is done. So what is very much important as a developer is this PEP 8 standard. Once you click on this PEP 8 standards, what actually tells is style guides for Python code. So this is very much important, like whenever you are working as a full-fledged Python developer in a company, or whether it's a open source or whatever it may be. So in simple, what actually tells is how you can make a command, how your function should look, and how you are like, let's say you declared some integer or like some of the variable, and how it should be. See here, it's saying like import OS and import sys. It should come in two different lines. You should not do this one. Even if you do, it will work, but this is not a best way or best practice to do. So that is what actually it tells. So what is the advantages of following this PEP 8? The main advantage is like whenever like you develop code and you left that code, and someone comes there and they want to see your code. If you use your own styling guidelines, it is very difficult for him to figure out what actually you are doing. So for that reason, if you use PEP 8 standard, and it is globally standard across all the Python community, then anybody comes to your code can analyze, and then they can see and they can understand how the way you wrote a code. So that is all with respect to PEP. So in this PEP 8 is very much important. There are like a lot of guidelines for if you want to create a package and if you want to create a library in library is nothing but a package in Python. You need to follow some PEP standards. So that one you can refer in this one. And there are like some community. Here you can see what are all the mailing list. If you want to communicate with the community, there are some mailing list available here. There is a Python wiki and all the stuff, and there are some success stories and the news and the events which they are organizing. If you are organizing any Python event, just you can send the mail and they can you can organize a Python event as well. So these are all about this section. So let's talk a little bit on a Python software foundation. See, basically like Python is a completely open source. That means the developer across the globes are contributing for a Python. So they are all contributing, but how they'll get the money? Like some of the people may work for free, but some of them, let's say like you wrote a code and they get a defect. So you write a code for your passion and you send, and either like someone can take a ownership and they can change your code. And to do that one, like some people may not work for free. So it is all like with respect to they have a foundation called Python Foundation. So here you can see there are like sponsors. So what in reality it happens is like so many companies will contribute to this Python Foundation so that developers will get paid from this one. There are like some plans where if you want to get support, a dedicated support, then you can ask for a Python Software Foundation to get a dedicated support with a paid. So these are all like here you can go and you can donate for a Python Software Foundation, and there are like some legal things involved in this Python Foundation, and all those stuffs you can see under this entire Python Software Foundation tab. The next one is doc. Here it contains all the documentation of Python. The docs which I had shown in the first section and this one both are same. And here only one things you need to know is here you can see all the sections, all the different versions of document. Here 2.7 is nothing but a Python 2.2 version. Python 2 version. So here you can see it is mentioned as EOL, that means end of life. So that means no longer Python community is supporting Python 2. So it's better always try to go ahead with the Python 3 version. And here there is one more version called development version. So if you select this one, you will get new features which is been coming in future from Python. So it's always suggest to go ahead with the stable version. Do not go ahead with this version because you may face some issues like you may get new features, but you may face some issues like whether something is not working. All those issues will come. So it's better always go with the stable version. So this is all with respect to document, and there is something called PEP Python Index. So it is like almost like how you open your mobile and you search for some app store like game and all those such kind of things, right? Like that. The similarly in Python, you write a program, but you cannot write a program for every single piece, like every single logic. Let's say like your projects need to calculate MD5, so you cannot write the code for MD5. That is not your purpose. So your project has a different purpose and you want to write MD5, and you don't want to like reinvent the wheel. So if you want to make your MD5, so then search for some specific packages which is already been posted and it is published in Python package index. So here you can search for, let's say like I want to use numpy. Here you can see there is a numpy version 1.2.20.1, and here you can see February 8 2021 and date last updated you can search. So here you can see there a Q plot, and these are all like based on the last date I searched. Let's say numpy relevance numpy, and you can click on this numpy, and here it is the main command they are given. Just you execute this command in your command prompt, automatically numpy will be get installed. This package is get installed in your Python. And to know about how to use numpy, there is one more section called documentation section. Just go ahead and click on this one. So here they will explain about how you can install the numpy and how can you start, what are all the tutorials. All these things will be explained in this section detail. So let's go back to our this one. So these are all the things with respect to Python packages. It is like kind of a repository. It is kind of a app store. How do you see in Android mobile or iPhone? So it is like it contains all the list of libraries or the packages helpful for any developer or any project. So even you can write your own package and you can contribute and you can publish it here so that other people can use. So let's go back to our python.org, and there is one more section called jobs. Here you can search for, like, here there are like a lot of openings which is present across the globe. Here the people can post a job requirement in the Python website itself. Here you can go ahead and search for the job. And the last section is community. So this is all with respect to community, like if you want to use their logo, there are some rules, like you cannot take this Python logo and you cannot do some modification for this one. So these are all some guidelines how you can use the logo, and there are like some community things which is present under this community section. So let's go back to Python. So there is one more small button which is coming here, that is called interactive shell. Just you can click here and you can execute a Python script here itself. See here, like last time, once you press Ctrl L, the screen will get clear. Here directly you can execute a Python program from here itself. See, so this is one small interactive shell which is given in the Python website. So that one you can use to test your small Python programs. Yeah, this is all with respect to a small tour about a Python website. So later in the section, like in the next video, I'll be showing like how you can download and install a Python software for your operating system, and how can you write a hello world program. Yeah, that's all guys. Thank you very much. Bye.